And just the other thing is, I appreciate Congressman Huffman being here. I did listen to all the testimony. I did support you. I did vote for you, and I really felt like you were representing me until I heard that testimony. And when you went to Congress and said this works for the neighbors, I felt that was a slam to myself and to my neighbors. It doesn't work for us. I think you know that now. And I want you to hear how I feel. And it's probably not a legal importance, but I want you to hear this from me.
Thank you.
As a voter, as a supporter, and actually to all of you. I feel like you do represent me. I know you all work hard, but I feel like you really fell down on this issue for the people of Windsor. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Quick response.
May I? I appreciate your candor. I absolutely do, and the things I'm hearing tonight are very important. That's why I'm here. That's why I asked that this town hall be rescheduled so I could be in this chair, because I didn't want this conversation to take place when I wasn't here. So this won't even be the last chance for us to talk. We'll have more. I do want to say that several references have been made to things that were said in the congressional hearing, I think back on May 10th, something like that. I will tell you that as of that date, there was no formal opposition to any of that. Obviously, I can't say that now. Obviously, I was not aware of it. So, well, look, let me just tell you something. I would not say that today.
Okay.
Clearly, there's some opposition, and it is organized opposition, and I understand it, and I have heard it, and I've sat here patiently and really tried to listen and respect it. Okay, but I do want you to also know that even as of tonight, as we sit here, not a single elected official in Sonoma County or anywhere else has expressed opposition to this MOA or to my legislation or asked me to withdraw it. That hasn't yet happened. So I'm listening to everybody, but I think it's also significant that not a single elected official at any level has come out in opposition to this.
Okay. Let's hear from.
Okay.
Please.
Am I at the right place here?
Yes.
Okay. My name's Joe Timpson, and I've lived in Sonoma County for 50 years and in Windsor for 23 years. I first started paying attention to the whole thing about what governs Indian land and the trust thing in 2003 when the Roanoke Park Furor first broke out. And I've read thousands of pages on it and kind of loosely followed the fights across especially in California, against casinos. And I'll tell you, I believe that that fee to trust system is broken. I believe it was broken then, and it was broken now. All I ever hear about in papers when in this county or elsewhere is people deluging their legislators saying, we want you to stop this project. We want you to not take this land into trust. What they need to hear from all of us at the federal level is that needs to be fixed so that the BIA doesn't run roughshod and steamroller over people. They've already that's what you'll hear from me, anyway. They've already figured out how to get around the cost sharing decision and just keep right on steamrolling over it without nothing that says they have to take care of local laws and work with this. If the fee trust system was fixed, we wouldn't have to have legislature at the county and federal level. And I, for one, am very glad that you've taken this on to get whatever protection you can. Because I believe, like Councilmember Milan said, we're at that cliff. I do not want to roll the dice from everything I've read on having no protections at all. I'm okay. And I see people with signs that say no backroom deals and honor our town and our county UGBs. And why hasn't our town council been standing up for our rights and taking care of our general plan and our urban growth boundaries? Well, when 72%, thank you, Deb, of the citizens of Windsor voted for the urban growth boundary, what we were saying is we're giving up any control past that. This is where we are going to stay. This is our ultimate boundary. Whereas before you always had a sphere of influence. It was the counties, but you could kind of, they would not do anything there without really talking to you. We're saying this is our community. That's a bold statement, but we don't even have to be consulted. We're not protecting anything outside. We're protecting where we grow. And the town council doesn't have anything they could say out there. The county doesn't have to talk to them about it. The only thing that our town council really has any say over here is whether they build their own wastewater plant or the town extends their services. From what I've seen of the NEPA process for trust land, if The town does not extend that thing. I don't know what standards that wastewater be built to, but I can guarantee it wouldn't be the tertiary standards that our water is. And maybe not even a secondary. I don't know, but the ponds that they would build to hold it, which would be next to all these people's lands, would not be something you'd want to be living next to. It is environmentally preferable to extend the services and not have them do their own wastewater plant. And to take all that money we would have charged them, that it would cost them to build that, have us do it and get a swimming pool, I think is awesome. We've needed a pool for years. I think it's a win-win.
Are you
I really
about,
think we
about done?
can't go away, and thank all of you for being here.
All right, thank you. Okay, let me, I'll get here in just a moment. Let me take a couple questions, still digging our way through, and then we'll come right over here. I think this one's to the county. I think I know the answer, but a quick one. As a result of the 1991 lawsuit, did Sonoma County specifically identify these lands that are now in discussion, or were the lands more generally identified?
It did not.
More generally. So anywhere in Sonoma County, was that the...
Well, the one thing that I'd like to say is, as a part of that 1991 agreement, if you do look back onto the history of it, it does cite a provision that the county would assist the Lytton tribe in establishing a homeland. At that point, nothing with gaming was even on the agenda, as you all know. The reason that, as background, that the prohibition to gaming in the Alexander Valley, from our assessment and talking with people who were a part of that agreement, was because there was discussions. A lot of bingo halls, big bingo halls, were opening up in different areas, and it was all centered around that. So there was, what the chairperson talked about was sitting with the Board of Supervisors in 1991, and them talking about Windsor. We don't know where that came from. We can't go back far enough to talk to Nick Esposti or others who were the supervisors at that time.
Okay, this is a two-part question, and I don't even know who it's to, and I don't know if anyone even wants to answer it, but there's a bunch of them, and I'll try to encapsulate it. It's a double-edged timing question. Why can't we put all of this on hold? I assume by all of this, I suspect it's the legislation, and I don't know what else it is. Put on hold until the federal regulations for the fee and trust issue are completely fixed and ironed out, one. Or why can't we put all this on hold until there's a town vote and the town takes its vote before we do anything else to push it or not push it? And I don't know who to look for, but maybe... I can speak to part of it. All right, speak to part of it, and maybe town...
I won't presume to speak for the town's piece of this, but in terms of the federal legislation, there have been some statements made tonight that suggest, I think somebody said I put this on the fast track, or there was something like that, that there is no such type of bill. It's not a fast track. This is not some special bill. It's an ordinary bill introduced in a Congress that on its best day moves at a glacial pace. So nothing is about to happen in the United States Congress that is going to go to the president's desk anytime really soon. I think that's a really safe assumption. We have a little bit of time here to have a community discussion. Now, there's other parts of this that are not my pieces of it, but I can promise you that you're not going to wake up next week or the week after that and suddenly have a law on President Obama. It won't even be anywhere close to that at its best case. And even then, you know that there's two houses of Congress, and there would have to be a path through the U.S. Senate. So this is many months away at the fastest that it could possibly proceed.
There's one other aspect of that with the memorandum of agreement and in talking about how a lot of people have questioned what's the background with the county and talked about closed door meetings and other things, is that the county opposed this, the environmental assessment, the environmental rule on 3 different occasions. And when it was passed in the most recent version in 2012, from my understanding, that's when it went to a dual process of continuing to oppose it. But in terms of, I guess the board at that time decided that, as with most of those discussions, settlement discussions take place concurrently at the same time. So from 2012 until 2015, which you have, is also, I would state that you've seen some of the notices from our chair and some of the others and the other board of supervisors, 4 other people on this, and really they were very active in this negotiation as well. I would say that, if you look at the map and other things, there was other supervisors who were saying, well, even though they didn't live here, we're worried about that this could expand larger. We're worried about if that's going to be off of the tax rolls for the county. We're worried about this. So you know, for me as a supervisor who came in, as I said before, I own the present, which means I own the past as well. So for you all, whatever happens going forward is my responsibility. But I'm looking forward to seeing also not just what the discussion is here tonight, but what some of the discussions are going to be tomorrow after tonight. So I appreciate that.
All right, let's go here, and then we'll kind of make our way across. Are there any other cards out there? We haven't been collecting cards for a while. Anybody have a question card or a comment card? Just to let you know, a lot of these. Do you have some additional?
Well, let them come up.
Yeah, write it down. Good. Okay.
Okay, I won't be very long. My name is Jill Plowman, and I have lived in Windsor for 20 years. And I'm just standing here right now thinking of my 3 red water buckets that I have circulating constantly throughout my house, from going from the shower to washing vegetables, and we ripped up our lawn, put in, we've really done our job like Windsor has. Okay, yes. Oh, okay. So this is a little bit about water. I'll just read some facts and be done. In July, 1 month ago, the county supervisors approved new limits on well drilling. These new ordinances were put in place to protect our rivers, streams, and our groundwater. In addition to that, the state of California has introduced a groundwater sustainability management program that will, for the first time in history, monitor wells and groundwater levels. In today's Press Democrat, readers were informed that letters from the State Water Resources Control Board will be sent to landowners in the Dutch Bill Creek, Green Valley, Mark West, and Mill Creek watersheds by September 4th, wherein mandatory reporting will require landowners to submit information, including the location of their water sources and amount of water used monthly, within 30 days, or face potential penalties of up to $500 a day, board officials said. On the Homeland for Lytton website, it is stated that should the tribe provide its own water supply through wells, it will be adopting its own water quality and usage law standards, which will be at least as stringent as the state's. So, let me make sure that I understand what's going on here. During the most devastating drought California has ever seen, mandatory water cuts are being implemented statewide. With this current legislation, those on wells who, by the way, pay for the installation and upkeep of those wells will be subjected to monitoring and eventually mandatory cutbacks. Our water board, who are also our county supervisors, and the state are requiring the people of the beautiful state of California to cut back water usage, but those same people signed an MOA with the Lytton and support legislation that will be allowing exemptions from the oversight everyone else will be subject to. Is that what I'm hearing? Since when do our elected officials who were voted into office to protect our environment and the people of our county draft legislation and sign agreements that will do just the opposite, and behind closed doors, effectively denying us of a voice? And we were denied a voice, town council, on many issues. Will the Lytton development be governed by the same new well restrictions as the rest of Sonoma residents, especially in light of the size and draw of their proposed well? Will Lytton development submit to state mandated well monitoring? If not, will there be any state or local oversight on the development's water usage? That's all.
Thank you. Okay, gentleman in the middle, and thank you, by the way, to those who have waited and stood here for it's a long time.
Well, and Pat Higgins, I guess since everybody's put up their time, I've been here for 37 years in the area and 27 here in Windsor. When I got at the end of the line, I had all kinds of great things to say, but by the time I got to the front, kind of have all been said. But I did want to make a couple of points. I'm a little bit confused by all the discussion, and the confusion comes from if we ask the town to not discuss with the tribe and to come out against their efforts, if we ask the county to do away with the memo of understanding or agreement, if we ask Mr. Huffman to withdraw his bill, then we cut off all lines of communication, and yet everyone in here is basically saying we need to have a voice. Well, you don't have a voice if the Bureau of Indian Affairs is the only person who will make a decision because their voice is for the Indians. So if you want people to have the ability to talk about these kinds of things, and I understand the angst about the closed door and all that kind of fun stuff, but if you want people to have the ability to discuss, they have to be in conversation. The tribe has had these conversations. They're not the ones that go behind the closed doors, and they are openly working with our government agencies. And that's the correct thing to be doing, and they have acquiesced in many, many aspects of what they have done. And many, many passionate statements have been made here, and they've heard them, and maybe they'll make some changes as they go forward. Who knows? But if we don't have the conversation, if we actually stop the city and the city takes a negative position on this, the county was to do away with its memo, and we stop the discussion through the Congress, then in essence you have no voice. And that's what you're advocating for. And that's why I'm confused. So that's my position, is I kind of expect that my town council, and I live in the town, and I did vote for you guys, some of you. And, you know, I feel strongly you need to keep that open, and by coming out negatively, you will stop that conversation. And then my last comment would be, I kind of like what Sam says. My heart's with the tribe as well. Not necessarily the Lytton tribe, but I grew up in an Indian area in Yosemite where half my school was Indian. I saw what our broken federal Indian thing did to tribes. I didn't work for the Forest Service, most of which were Indians. And then I have had the opportunity to work with the Lytton tribes in other aspects of their vineyards and those kinds of things. And so I would just simply say, these people would be great neighbors, and they're great conversationalists. They are working with us. We should not stop that.
Thank you. Slide to you.
My name is Sue Nelson, and I also have been here for 61 years in Sonoma County. I'll let you draw your own conclusions as to what that means. And I've been in Windsor for 28.
You were here well before you were born.
I know, isn't that amazing?
It's incredible.
And I've been in Windsor for 28 years. Mr. Higgins made the comment that by the time you stand in line, everyone has said what you were there to say, and I feel that way, but particularly with respect to the comments Mr. Higgins just made. In situations like this, I think people get most angry and frustrated when they think they can't work around something. And in truth, federal laws about sovereign nations do bind our world to some rights that certain groups have. And I would imagine that this conversation has taken place in council chambers and Board of Supervisors rooms across the country when people feel that they are constrained in their decision making. And that's why, if anything, I am so pleased that our Board of Supervisors has worked on a memorandum of agreement, that Congressman Huffman has introduced legislation that gives us a say. I'm pleased to hear and know that you and the council are here tonight listening to comments that are being made, some really good comments, some things I think that you know you can do some work with and make some headway. But I, for one, appreciate the efforts that have been made in the discussions that have occurred. They've been very important. And I also appreciate the work that the tribe has done. It's a little sad sometimes that when a hand goes out as a gift, it's looked at as some kind of a payoff, and I think there have been some very useful discussions leading to some things that will be very good for this community when they become neighbors of ours. But thank you to all of you who've been working over these years. It has been going on a long time. Thank you.
Thank you. This gentleman in the middle.
Oh,
Yep, that's fine, and then we'll bounce here.
okay.
Okay.
Well, as I was standing in line, I
Step
felt
up to the mic.
Oh, thanks.
There you go.
So as I was standing in line, and when I came here to, see what was going to happen, what kind of answers were going to come out of this, but I ended up with a bunch of questions, and even standing in line, I came up with more questions, and so I haven't seen anybody hold up a map and explain what's happening here and where everything lies. Because this is going to be the development part up in the north end of this. And if you go ahead and do your legislation and grant that, in this lower part, once they've been granted this part, it's easier for them to get more land into the trust, correct? And that trust, that trust is done through the BIA. They don't have to go through you anymore. And then they can put casinos on that land through that BIA, and they don't have to do anything you say, is my understanding of it.
Yeah, we could discuss that further, but that's,
Well, that's
there's
what
a
we
lot,
came
there's
to
a lot
do,
of that
wasn't
that's
it?
not quite right.
Isn't that what we came to do, is discuss it and clear up some of this stuff? Well, let's clear it up.
Well, let's start. If you're talking about land that's within the outlined area of the map,
Yeah, that scares people.
right, that is the area of potential interest that the tribe identified in its negotiation with the county. They don't own all that property. It's what they
Understood.
may conceivably want to acquire at some point in the future. And so, yes, it has the potential to go into trust. Land outside of that area would be much, much harder to bring into trust, and it would be virtually unthinkable that it could have a casino, but I have made a commitment to you that I'm going to work on language that will not allow anyone to even have heartburn
Like Run
about
Park?
that possibility.
And at the same time, the county agreement has any lands in Sonoma County, no gaming.
Unless it's acquired through the BIA.
No. Well, yes, yes,
No
exactly.
Gaming, no
Yes.
gaming.
No,
in,
that's the point. That
no
if-
gaming
yes.
in Sonoma County for 22 years.
But let me, you
No,
made
no,
the
no,
key
no.
point
Interest
right
or
there.
not?
In a
If it's
section-
acquired through the BIA, that was a key point you just made.
That's right.
If my bill disappears, as some here would like it to, it still comes into trust through the BIA in all probability, and it comes in without a federal enforceable prohibition against a casino. That's a huge distinction that I think may not be appreciated by
For
everyone.
that section of it.
Any of it.
So just so I understand, because that's what I'm here to get answers, right? So if this gets passed and they put this land into trust through the BIA, not using you anymore, they still won't be able to build a casino on there for 22 years.
If the county MOU and the tribe continues in force, the BIA could take it into trust in a way that overrides that. That's the risk of allowing it to go through the BIA. Now, the BIA,
the risk anyhow.
the BIA doesn't like this idea of, county agreements with tribes. The BIA likes to think that it has the say on all of the terms and conditions of these land to trust deals. Somebody mentioned earlier about how messed up the land to trust process is under federal law with the BIA. I could not agree more. It is a mess, and while there's, I think, going to be a so-called carcieri fix passed by Congress, I want you to know something. I'm going to be fighting for a carcieri fix that changes that makes sure that local governments and concerns of citizens that don't want casinos and things like that have to be considered by the BIA. Under current law, they do not.
Then why aren't you working on that fix?
I am.
Okay,
Sir,
can you
Excuse
wrap
me?
up? Time is,
sir, can you please state your name for the record?
My name is Sean Cahill. I live
Thank
in
you.
Windsor.
yeah, Sean, can you kind of
Okay,
wrap up?
so
You guys got
the
a
next-
dialogue, it was hard to
Do I
keep
still have
track.
time or no? Or I ran out
You
already?
ran out a while back, but you were kind of,
that's crazy.
sharing it, so it's okay.
So, yeah, thank you, I appreciate that. So my other question is, I'm hearing things like from some of the other gentlemen here where, that the BIA isn't really working with them right now, and you claim that they will later. I mean, that's confusion for me. Which way is it? Are they going to work with, is the BIA going to work with them or not?
Let me
Or why-
take a crack at that.
Thank you.
And then I'm going to move on to
All right,
this
what
gentleman
the
over here.
tribe has is an application, a fee to trust application.
For how long have they had that?
We've had that application submitted in 2009 and then 2011.
Okay.
The environmental for that, the federal government issued a FONSI. That's a finding of no significant impact. That FONSI was issued 3 years ago. We're now waiting for the Bureau to go through the process of approving and moving the fee to trust application forward.
So
Recognizing that.
why are they messing with these guys then?
Well, from our standpoint, 3 years is a long time, and what we'd like to do is in talking with Congressman Huffman, we could include additional lands, take that land into trust, and not have to wait that long for additional lands to go into trust. That's part of the look at it from the tribe.
Thank you, Larry. I'm going to,
Yeah, that sounds like a
yeah,
push to me.
Okay, let's let some of your other neighbors have
I'll put
a
this
shot. Now, can I, just recognizing it's 9:30, we've been here a while, some of us really need to go to the bathroom. Yeah, really. How many more people are going to come up and speak? Because we've been kind of dribbling up little by little. I had the numbers counted about a half hour ago. How many more speakers do we have? One, in addition to the 6 that we've got in front of us. I see one hand. Other speakers? 2 hands? Okay. 3 hands. Okay, why don't you come on up so we all, because I think we're all starting to feel the pinch of closing in on 10 o'clock. So this gentleman here.
Dave Weiss. I've been in Windsor over 32 years. We bought down in Oak Creek. And when we bought the place, we asked what was going to go on behind us. And we were told that there's 2 ranchettes back there and nothing else will happen. Well, we found out different. It ended up with 78 homes back there. So when they're telling you about casinos not going in, don't believe it because it can change. And so it's all about money is what it's about. You know, money talks. And we have a view easement in the back of our place, and every time I attend one of these meetings, somebody at Windsor tells me they're going to get back to me, and they haven't done it yet. The last 2 meetings, we'll call you in a couple of days. They haven't called me. There's no reason for the view easement. The view easement is 100 feet on the back of our property, and it was for the people driving down Old Redwood Highway to look over there, but now there's fences there and there's trees there, and there's no reason for it. But I'd like to know why Windsor hasn't contacted me. I guess because there's no money in it. I don't know. Any reason? Okay, last time we had a meeting, they said, well, get right back to you. Never heard from anybody.
Maybe
and that's months ago.
Since the view easement probably isn't
Yeah,
an issue
Linda
here
Kelly,
tonight,
Town Manager. I'm happy.
You can work on that.
I give out my cards at town council meetings. I don't have your phone number. I'd be happy to call you.
Well, there were a lot of people I
Connect
talked
with
to
you.
about, oh, we'll get right back to you.
Okay.
And nobody got back to me, so, anyway.
All right, well, maybe you guys can exchange cards.
I'm
This
through.
gentleman in the middle, and this gentleman in the middle, and then this gentleman on the side.
Yes, my name is Roger Rude. I'm a neighbor of the Lytton tribe property. They own the land that is adjacent to my backyard. I'm also a citizen for Windsor, though I'm not a member of the opposition. And I'd just like to state that I personally believe that Town Council, County Board of Supervisors, Congressman Huffman have been working quite diligently to come up with the most equitable approach to deal with this problem. I don't think there's been any collusion or any briberies or any of the other things that have surfaced in conversations. I think this meeting is valuable. People are putting out ideas and thoughts. It should have happened earlier, I think. But I have to say that I'm a firm believer that there can be a win-win situation. This does not have to be a negative impact on Windsor. I believe the tribe is trying in multiple ways to make this work. And one of the things I think has to be taken into consideration is the historical perspective of what's going down here and why it's going down here. And there is very valid reasons why they want sovereign land. And I agree with that and I support that. So in the long shot, I'd love my backyard to look out across pristine land with no development, but that's not realistic. Development will come of one form or another. And as I look at this, all things considered, this truly can be a win-win situation. And I think people need to start looking at it from that perspective, because I also believe the land is going to go into trust. I don't doubt that for a second after seeing what I have seen through my experiences. So with that, I'd just like to thank everybody.
Okay, this gentleman here.
My name is Bill Robertson. I've been a 38-year resident of Windsor, so some seniority. In fact, I'm ahead of about 24,000 of you. So I have adjusted to changes over time, and that's what we're dealing with here. Now, there isn't anybody in this room that can tell us what the stock market's going to do tomorrow, and they want to know what's going to happen 22 years down the road. Get real. I want to express my appreciation to the public officials that are here tonight. I, too, as the previous gentleman said, respect your efforts and believe given the tough road you have to work with. The federal government, BIA, does not openly welcome the public input like we're trying to have tonight. I think their efforts are to try to work within the system to achieve the best possible results. And I believe that HR 2538 is a realistic approach to dealing with the problem. Can it be modified? And if it can, great. But I think the course is good. I've dropped a lot of the notes. I'm not going to speak to a lot of things I wrote down, but there was one woman's comments that greatly disturbed me when she was talking about Native Americans and two countries and so forth, and the Pledge of Allegiance, etc. I know for a fact that Native Americans enlist in the military services of this country in far greater ratios than other Americans do. I think it is a sign of, I don't know what a sign, I don't want to throw a name on it, but she was just dead wrong on that point. I had a wonderful conversation in Taos with a Native American shopkeeper in 2008 about young men from their pueblo serving in the armed forces. They give as much to this country as any of us. So my conclusions here were, I wanted to say to the tribe, I want to offer you my welcome to the Lytton Band of Homo Indians to Windsor. I look forward to seeing your children in Windsor schools and your families on the green on summer Thursdays. I hope there will be many opportunities for the Lytton Band to teach and share with the people of Windsor and Sonoma County about their values and culture. I have no objection that you are prepared to venture forth to support your community with businesses operated to viably sustain your homeland. After all, California's Native Americans sustained the beauty and abundance of California for thousands of years prior to the current residents of the state. Again, I welcome you, and again, thanks to the Town Council, Supervisor Gore, and Congressman Huffman. Thank you.
Thank you. This gentleman and I, for one, appreciate the T-shirt. So thank you very much.
Just representing Bay Area.
Go Warriors.
Go Warriors. My name's Chris Trechter. I'm a resident here, 13 years. Just wanted to address everybody here. Thank you for all the council being here, the tribe. Congressman Huffman mentioned earlier that there had been no officials that have opposed his HR 2538 bill. I kind of challenged the 5 council members here of the town council to represent the 27,000 Windsor residents that do oppose this bill, and represent what you have been elected by, and be the first 5 official people to oppose this bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, here we go.
Sorry, I have a hoarse voice. Too many. I see 650 kids a week. Sometimes you get worn out. But I'm Heather Cullen. I've been here 11 years. My family crash landed here after an adventure of homelessness across the nation. And literally from